afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Williams. I'm the Conservative parliamentary candidate for Warley at the general election. Thank you so much for having me here today and listening to what I have to say. And let me just say thank you so much also for all the very valuable work that you do in the community here, looking after some of the most vulnerable in our society and helping them, in the positions that they're in. I've had some thoughts which I prepared before I came here, and listening to the feedback is sort of slightly blowing that out of the water. So I'm just going to try my best to respond to some of the points that have been raised as best I can, and try and finish very quickly with maybe what I would like to see society look like in 2020 before finishing. I think I've only got a few minutes to do this. So you've got your Right. Okay. Well, very quickly then. So on children and young people, I was totally in agreement with your remarks about the family and the importance of the family unit in addressing some of those, being the source of the solution to some of the problems there. The reality is that the family is the unit where people spend most of their time, where they get most of their values, and if we have families that are on the edge of breaking down, or there being a problem which means that that family unit is about to break up, that is a very serious problem, and we need to intervene there to prevent that from happening. It's worth doing that. It's worth putting the resources in to do that, because if we don't, the costs and the problems that result from that family breaking down are much greater. So I'm very supportive of supporting the family unit and doing what we can to do that, and having early interventions for families which maybe are not actually in difficulty at the moment, but are only just coping and about to tip over the edge or could tip over the edge. And I think in doing that, we need to make sure that the public services that come into contact with those families, they're looking out for the signs and they're coordinated with each other, looking for signs that that family might be in difficulty or heading into difficulty. On poverty, I really like the suggestion about the idea of an advocate, somebody who will stand up for people who are down at their lowest ebb. I think that look, as a Conservative, I think that all humans have equal worth. They have equal merit and value, and I'm a great believer in the human spirit being able to overcome adversity. And sometimes it means that you need to give people a little bit of help. But I'm a great believer that the human spirit is the most powerful force in overcoming adversity. And if we can just tap into that, give people a little bit of self-belief, then often that's the way to start addressing some of those problems. So I think that is a very good idea. Certainly, I'm interested in exploring that idea further. So perhaps we can talk afterwards. On housing, running out of time. Very quickly, on housing, yes, I think there has been a failure for a long time now, not just under this government, but under the previous government. We're not building enough houses in this country, and that is starting to become a bit of a crisis. So Conservatives have a plan to try and help start addressing this. So just a couple of things that came out in the manifesto. 275,000 new affordable homes are going to be built in the next Parliament. That's in addition to 200,000 affordable first-time buyer homes, which are going to be put on the market at a 20% discount to enable people to get onto the market a bit more easily. And just picking up a point about the brownfield sites, we've announced this policy of extending right to buy to housing association houses, which will enable hopefully a fund of £1 billion to be generated as part of that policy, which would enable the release of brownfield sites for 400,000 additional houses. So all of that together hopefully will start making inroads into that problem of housing shortages. Justice and fairness, very quickly on that, disengagement from politics. I think politics in this country has gone downhill in terms of the obviously the level of respect for politicians, the esteem that they're holding. I think that we've got into a world where politicians do spin things too much. There is too much argy-bargy and hot air, and we need to focus on the issues. If we did that in a more transparent way, perhaps, and a less partisan way, I think we have a lot more respect from the public in addressing some of the difficulties that we face.
Stop you there, Tom.
My time is up. Can I just say very, very quickly,
Okay.
in terms of 2020, and what's the most important thing we need to do, I think we need to put the finances of the country on a more secure footing. I mean, this is something you'll have heard in the national media a lot, but at the moment we have a national debt of £1.5 trillion, and at the moment, unfortunately, that is still growing because the deficit hasn't been eliminated completely. That leaves us vulnerable to the external shocks that do sometimes happen in the global markets, and we also are paying £43 billion in debt interest on that debt, which is a sum that's rather larger than the current defence budget. So it's an enormous amount of money, and that is constraining what government can do in terms of spending money on other things. So I think by 2020, we have a plan as the Conservative Party to eliminate the deficit, start paying down the national debt. If we do that, we'll be able to withstand some of the external shocks that do happen in global markets.
Tom, I'm going to have to stop you there. You've had an extra minute. That's it.
And we'll be able to keep up our public services and meet things like our international development.